Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chuck Furia Uncorked. Joining us today is Ariana Tsuchiya, Kale, and myself. So, shall we toast?
Sure. We'd like to take this time to cheers.
Chin chin, everyone.
Chin chin. So, I just wanted to do a podcast where we're going to ask Ariana to blind taste this particular wine. We're not asking her to identify the grape or the soil or the vintage or the producer. That's all the tricks for all these wine examinations.
Nothing stuffy, nothing formal.
Right. all I just want her to do is break it down so that people can understand the wine, especially you, Kali. This will be a learning experience for you and hopefully for the viewer then. And then break down the wine systematically with a methodology so that you can learn how to break the wine and be more consistent at breaking down the wine.
I'm here for the novices, they said.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. She had some trash to talk about you, by the way. And so then after that, all we're going to ask her is, Ariana, is this a good wine or not? Why or why not? Second question after some thought, how much would you pay for it in a store? Mm-hmm. And lastly, what kind of foods would you consider serving it with? Same with you, Kali. We're going to also ask you the same things. I'm probably going to ask you those questions before I ask Ariana.
Thank you for that. Because I was going to say, how am I supposed to follow that up?
Well,
I get the first crack.
just to be clear, me and Kali both don't know anything about what this wine is. We
Right.
don't know.
Well,
It's
and just to be
completely-
clear, your wine knowledge is far greater than mine. So.
But the thing is, you don't need wine knowledge to know what's good wine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's just break this down. I'm looking at a white wine. And for me, compared to some other white wines, this one has a little bit more of a goldish color. I would not say like copper or goldenrod, but it has a little bit of like a tinge of some sort of gold. It has a little bit more yellow than something straw or clear white. Would you say that's true, Chuck?
Yep. There's no greenish tinge to this thing.
No. So there's no green. It's not completely
It's got a yellow to it.
yellow. Yes. But also not,
What
like
is
I
that
said,
an indicator
orange.
of?
So for me, the fact that it's not completely translucent water white can be about grape varietal. It could potentially be about winemaking, and the fact that it could be about age. I personally don't think, winemaking included. It technically could be about age, but moving on to the smell.
What about, you can see though that when you swirl this glass,
Yeah.
it's not a viscous. It's not
It's- yeah.
it's not a white wine with high viscosity. So it's already telling me that it's probably not from a
So-
warm growing region.
Viewers, we're also looking at these tiers, so that's what Chuck is talking about too. And the fact that it's not viscous is like something with a high viscosity is like honey compared to water. So
I'm getting those yellow corn shoots that they put in salads.
yeah, baby corn shoots,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's what you smell?
Slightly.
Oh.
No?
Well, we were talking about sight first.
Well, she was about to move on
I
to
was
smell.
gonna just move this puppy along,
Yeah, it
but
does have that corn smell.
yeah, it's like we used to use kahuku corn shoots in the restaurant,
Yeah.
and that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like the
Shoot.
sweeter, shoots, bro. Moving on to the nose. So for me, I would not classify this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would not classify this as a highly fruity wine at all. I think that this has a little bit more of a. Psalms like to use the word minerality. Do you think that's true, Chuck?
Yeah, it's you don't smell overtly. You don't overtly smell apple, pineapple, pear, things like that. This thing is totally about rocks, mineral, that kind of stuff.
I get like
think
a
so.
wet river rock sometimes, and
Yeah,
then
I agree.
For me,
So let me ask you this: does it smell oaky? I think that's another thing we need to clarify. Does it have that smoky, vanilla, butterscotch, caramel smell to it? Sure doesn't show it in the color, but do you smell it?
For me, it's not indicative of new oak usage. Maybe potentially old oak.
Yeah, because
but
there is a slight butter. I feel like that corn shootness to it is a slight butteriness.
I don't get the butterness. When you get buttered popcorn, that's usually malolactic fermentation kind of characteristic, diacetyl. I don't think this is malolactic. It's my personal opinion. So
I think that's
I
more
don't
like
get
the
strong
grape
butter.
varietal.
Maybe there is butter there, but I don't get strongly butter. To me, flavor and smell, it's totally about mineral.
I think for me, it's about that wet river rock. There could be, for me, if we did digest fruit, it wouldn't be anything overtly tropical, and it wouldn't be anything like super green either. It kind of fits this middle ground. I know that you don't like saying yellow apple, but I think maybe this has a little bit of a yellow apple too. But it'd be behind the wet river rock for me. And I don't see winemaking in terms of new oak usage because I'm not getting vanilla bean. I'm also not getting any like American oak, which could be like coconut or cigar box, things like that.
Okay.
Correct me
What about
if
in
I'm
taste?
wrong. Okay, moving on to taste.
There's no right or wrong on this thing. I just want to make sure we cover all the bases. You smell anything else, Cheryl? No?
So I would like to stress that the minerality stays very true to form on the palate. I think that, Chuck uses the term tutti frutti a lot, and this is not tutti frutti
Is
for
there
me.
slight petrol in it?
I don't know. It's not like it goes back to the rock for me. That's the main thing.
But I do get petrol. I
Like
get
in the
a
back.
hint of- yeah.
Yeah.
So when you taste the wine, Cully, do you think this wine is dry, medium, medium sweet, or sweet?
Medium dry?
What do you think?
Dry.
Dry, medium dry to dry, we'll say.
Yeah.
Okay, for body, do you think this is full, medium, light bodied?
It's a medium.
Yeah.
Medium bodied, okay. And would you say this, the acidity is you feel it like pins being poked in the sides of your tongue, right?
Yes.
So do you think it's high, medium, low, low acidity?
Medium high.
Okay, medium high. So we've just broken down this wine in taste. It's medium dry to dry. It's medium bodied. It's medium high acidity. So now you can remember the profile of this
And
wine.
also not glaring alcohol. I wouldn't say
Yes.
the alcohol is
Finish
in
is
my
very
face.
unoaky, unalcoholic, unbitter. It flows very evenly and seamlessly from beginning to end.
There's a layer
It-
of complexity for me
Yeah,
as well.
it's not fruit driven. There's this minerality. There's an uplifting. You guys mentioned medium high acidity. There's an uplifting ness to this wine in addition to the acidity. It's got that minerals make the wine uplifting. So I imagine having it with seafood, it would really uplift scallops or
So this
lobster
is
or
that
things like that.
squeeze of lemon
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
over effect, essentially,
Yeah.
of the wine.
Yeah, I think this wine. And how's the quality overall? Overall quality. What do you think about this wine, Ariana?
Do you want us to talk about what we would pay for the wine first? Or
Or you can loop that into the overall quality, I think.
you want me to go first?
Yeah.
No, we'll go Cully. How much do you think this is a good wine?
Well, to me, to answer that question, to break it down for the novices, whenever you ask me if it's a good wine or not, you always relate it to, does it finish bitter, alcoholic, or oaky, and is it balanced? And I feel like it is balanced. There's nothing that like is glaring in a sense, to where it overpowers anything. So I'm gonna say yes. I think that this is a good wine. And I'm just going to go off on the hinge here because you are someone that likes country style wines, and because we did this tasting at La Vie, her and I, and Chris Ramel kind of had us give value of what we thought was the most expensive wine that we were tasting through the 3 different flights. And I would always be like, yeah, I like this. So my palate is now getting more used to or likes country style wine. So I'm going to say
Chuckified.
that yes, this is below $25 a bottle.
Okay.
I think for me, as a wine buyer, both retail, I'm going to look at it for during the pandemic, I'm going to go the wine store perspective. I think that this is my at-home dinner, maybe drinking while I'm watching a movie wine. In terms of me buying for the restaurant, this would be, so Azure is on the beach. And, for me, if I was to buy this for my restaurant, it would be like the poo-poo happy hour special from 5 to 6 versus the, you know, the
Fine dining.
dining. I'm not trying to play this wine as the fine dining wine for me, personally. I think that because it has a lightness to it while also giving that complexity, it's delivering for the dollar. I agree with both of you in that I think this wine is more value-based in the sense that people aren't trying to drop big coin on this wine, but they want what their money's worth for it. So probably retail under $30 for sure, in my personal opinion, but something that's going to deliver for over $30.
Yeah. So you think it over delivers for the dollar? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can so let me just comment on this thing. The more I go to it, the more intricate you see this wine is. It's very complex. You dive in, you find different nuances. It's not simple, tutti fruity, upfront stuff. You know, and the way that it incorporates minerality, you know, and it's got some pedigree to it. You know, it's not just a simple grape. You know, it's not tutti fruity. It's not simple. This wine, even though it's delicious and upfront, I mean, you drink it today, there's more to this wine than all the other wines in the same price range, in my opinion, at the store. I think this wine greatly over delivers for the dollar, as you commented.
Can I take it out of the fridge? No?
If you can, if you want to. Cheryl will. So what kind of foods would you serve this with?
Well, you said seafood.
Yeah.
I think going back to, for my personal application for the
I
restaurant,
think it's in the door, Auntie.
right on the
it's right there.
beach.
Go straight.
Maybe
Stick your hand straight in. Yep. It's right there.
my chef Shingo does an amazing Kona lobster fresh style with a little bit of like edible or like microgreens and herbs on it. I think that'd be like a squeeze of lemon on top of that. Something in the vein of fresh, super approachable, easy.
So to me, this is more shellfish than fish. I'm sorry. It's more fish than shellfish.
Oh, fish than shellfish.
And what kind of preparation are we going for? Like something buttery and creamy, or something
you could,
grilled?
you could. I mean, I think this wine is so. The
Is this
more
Hans
I taste
Wirsching?
it, I think this wine is so damn good. So,
the Silvaner.
So just to break it down, the grape variety is Silvaner. The winery is Hans Wirsching. This comes from Franconia, Germany. Okay, so do you need further background on that?
I think they would like to maybe hear further background.
So Franconia, Germany is famous for their dry wines and medium dry wines. Franconia is famous for Silvaner specifically, a lesser regarded grape variety compared to Riesling, you know. Hans Wirsching is either 14 or 15 generations of a family that have been owned and operate this estate. Former Gomio Winery of the Year, I think more than once. I mean, it's just a legendary, iconic estate from Germany. So unlike Riesling, which has rounder edges, see, you know, you were talking about earlier on an earlier podcast about Sauvignon Blanc or some of these other grapes, Chenin Blanc. Those have hard edges.
Lean, like
so,
specific
I mean, it's
angles.
very sharp. It's very hard. Even though you don't notice it when you're drinking, it's there. So one year, just to give you some background on what makes this wine so cool, is Cheryl and I were in Alsace, France. So Alsace, France borders France and Germany.
And they go back and forth through the years being property of both of those nations.
So over some time it's part of France, over some time it's part of Germany. So it's cross-cultural. They have more Germanic kind of foods and still French, and they have a lot of Germanic grape varieties over there. So it's just this in-betweener kind of place. Okay. So we went to this, we were recommended to this bistro kind of thing. And it was off the beaten path. It was like block this way, this way, this way. And the point of the story, it was away from tourists. And even though outside looked completely barren, when you walked inside, it was roaringly loud. It was completely packed with people. People wearing overalls and people wearing coat and tie with attaché case. So it was the whole gamut of local people.
Poppin'.
And almost everybody had wine with their lunch. You know, that's one of the things I noticed when you look around. Everybody had glasses of wine. And they didn't sit there and swirl the wine and smell it.
It's like when you talk about the Mediterranean.
Yeah, they just gulped it with their food. And enjoyment, you know, that's the way it was. So Cheryl and I ordered all these different kinds of foods because we figured we're never going to be there. again. And we ordered they had so many different wines by the glass, and we ordered some half bottles as well, just to be able to try all these different producers and styles of wines and grape varieties, and try it with the various foods, whether it was cabbage or sauerkraut or pâtés, cheeses, whatever they're famous for over there, in that area. And the interesting thing, where Riesling and Pinot Noir are the noblest grapes of the appellation, the one that actually went with the food that I learned was a grape variety I never cared for before. It was called Silvaner. The interesting thing about Silvaner, you'll see, instead of hard edges, it's more pliable. It can work with foods. It's not so
rigid,
confrontational with foods, And so the best Silvaners, there's one from Alsace called Andre Ostertag. And there's one from Germany, and that's Hans Wirsching. And the other one comes from northeast mountains among the Dolomites in northeast Italy, Manni Nosing. Those are, to me, the three best Silvaners in the world for me that I've had. I think this wine is so good because it's so minerally and so pure and transparent, and it's not hard-edged at all. It flows so seamlessly. In a store, I bought this thing for, I think it was $23 a bottle.
Oh. Ah.
So it's great value. I mean, you compare this to any New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc or all these other grapes. This wine, I think, is stellar. It's just that the viewer is not going to go in the store and go, oh, you have Hans Wirsching. Oh, you have Silvaner.
Where's your Silvaner? Find me your finest Silvaner.
So I just wanted you to taste the wines blind, so there's no preconceived notions, and that you can honestly assess the quality of the wine. And so thereby, then by unveiling it, now hopefully it might be an eye-opening tasting for you, experience for you. You've probably experienced Hans Wirsching before, but it's, for the viewer, go to the store.
I would buy that again for sure.
Absolutely.
And then Chuck, for the viewer at home, I just bought this from the store. I came home. What am I going to cook with this?
To me, I would just saute a fish.
Saute a fish.
Salt, pepper, and
Squeeze
then
a lemon? No.
And then when you put it on the plate, then you can squeeze a lemon over it if you want. You do that last.
Yeah.
And then you could put a pasta underneath, or Cheryl puts greens underneath, and I think that's what you do with this thing. It's just simple.
Awesome.
So there you have it, the Hans Wirsching Silvaner wine of the week.
Wunderbar.
There you
that
go.
Works.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We hope you tune in next week again. Until then, aloha.
Aloha.